Good morning, friends. Happy Saturday, Nikki. Nikki clicks the devotion notification and it sent her to a video of a raccoon choking and a man saving him. You never know. I don't know that it's your phone or Facebook is just psycho. Oh my goodness, Mallory, I'm glad. I'm glad you got some meds. Hey, Kay. Girl, I sent you a message. Check your messages. Hey, everyone. You're new here, Dina? Welcome to our happy little devotion group. That's a great way to start your morning. That plus coffee. All right, April 1st. Happy April Fools. Oh my gosh, I forgot to plug in my computer. Hold on, my computer's about to die. I'm starting this off well this morning. My cords are all tangled. Sorry, guys. Sorry. There we go. All right. April 1st. Shamgar becomes Israel's judge. Judges 3:31. After Ehud, Shamgar, son of Anath, rescued Israel. He once killed 600 Philistines with an ox goad. Deborah becomes Israel's judge. Judges 4:1-24. After Ehud's death, the Israelites again did evil in the Lord's sight. I know that's shocking. These people in their cycle. Who do they remind you of? Who do the Israelites remind you of? Their constant, the Lord comes in and rescues them, and then they do evil. Then the Lord comes in and rescues them, and they do evil. Sounds like me. So the Lord turned them over to King Jabin of Hazor, a Canaanite king. The commander of his army was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth Hagoyim. Sisera, who had 900 iron chariots, ruthlessly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years. Then the people of Israel cried out to the Lord for help. Deborah, the wife of Lapidoth, was a prophet who was judging Israel at that time. She would sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites would go to her for judgment. One day she sent for Barak, son of Abinoam, who lived in Kadesh in the land of Naphtali. She said to him, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, commands you. Call out 10,000 warriors from the tribes of Naphtali and Zebulun at Mount Tabor, and I will call out Sisera, commander of Jabin's army, along with his chariots and warriors, to the Kishon River. There I will give you victory over him." Barak told her, "I will go, but only if you go with me." "Very well," she replied, "I will go with you. But you will receive no honor in this venture, for the Lord's victory over Sisera will be at the hands of a woman." So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh. At Kadesh, Barak called together the tribes of Zebulun and Naphtali, and 10,000 warriors went up with him. Deborah also went with him. Now Heber the Kenite, a descendant of Moses' brother-in-law, Hobab, and had moved away from the other members of his tribe and pitched his tent by the oak at Zananim near Kadesh. When Sisera was told that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor, he called for 900 of his iron chariots and all of his warriors, and they marched from Harosheth Hagoyim to the Kishon River. Then Deborah said to Barak, not son of Barak, then Deborah said to Barak, "Get ready. This is the day the Lord will give you victory over Sisera, for the Lord is marching ahead of you." So Barak led his 10,000 warriors down the slopes of Mount Tabor into battle. When Barak attacked, the Lord threw Sisera and all of his chariots and warriors into a panic. Sisera leapt down from his chariot and escaped on foot. Then Barak chased the chariots and the enemy army all the way to Harosheth Hagoyim, killing all of Sisera's warriors. Not a single one was left alive. Meanwhile, Sisera ran to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, because Heber's family was on friendly terms with King Jabin of Hazor. Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Come into my tent, sir, come in. Don't be afraid." So he went into her tent, and she covered him with a blanket. "Please give me some water," he said. "I'm thirsty." So she gave him some milk from a leather bag and covered him again. "Stand at the door of the tent," he told her. "If anybody comes and asks you if there is anyone here, say no." But Sisera fell asleep from exhaustion. Jael quietly crept up on him, this woman. I love her. She is a tough cookie. Jael quietly crept up to him with a hammer and a tent peg in her hand. Then she drove the tent peg through his temple and into the ground, and so he died. Seriously, right, Nikki? I love this. I love this story. When Barak came looking for Sisera, Jael went out to meet him. She said, "Come, and I will show you the man you are looking for." So he followed her into the tent and found Sisera laying there dead, with a tent peg through his temple. So on that day, Israel saw God defeat Jabin, the Canaanite king. And from that time on, Israel became stronger and stronger against King Jabin until they finally destroyed him. Do you think that when Barak came in and saw the tent peg through the temple, do you think he was like, this woman is terrifying? What do you think his reaction was? Shock. He probably wasn't just like, oh, look, there's a tent peg through his head. I can imagine he was like, oh my word. Like, that would be total, like, I don't know. I'm just trying to picture it in my head as crazy pants. The Song of Deborah, Judges 5, 1 through 31. On that day, Deborah and Barak, son of Abinoam, sang this song. Israel's leaders took charge, and the people gladly followed. Praise the Lord. Listen, you kings, pay attention, you mighty rulers, for I will sing to the Lord. I will make music to the Lord, the God of Israel. Lord, when you set out from Seir and marched across the fields of Edom, the earth trembled, and the cloudy skies poured down rain. The mountains quaked in the presence of the Lord, the God of Mount Sinai, and in the presence of the Lord, the God of Israel. In the days of Shamgar, son of Anath, and in the days of Jael, people avoided the main roads, and the travelers stayed on winding paths. There were few people left in the village of Israel until Deborah arose as the mother of Israel. When Israel chose new gods, war erupted at the city gates. Yet not a shield or spear could be seen among 40,000 warriors in Israel. My heart is with the commanders of Israel, with those who volunteered for war. Praise the Lord. Excuse me. Consider this, you who ride on fine donkeys, you who sit on fancy saddle blankets, and you who walk along the roads. Listen to the village musicians gathered at the watering holes. They recount the righteous victories of the Lord and the victories of his villagers in Israel. Then the people of the Lord marched down to the city gates. Wake up, Deborah, wake up, wake up, wake up, and sing a song. Arise, Barak, lead your captives away from Abinoam. Down from Tabor marched the few against the nobles. The people of the Lord marched down against mighty warriors. They came down from Ephraim, a land that once belonged to the Amalekites. They followed you, Benjamin, with your troops. From Makir, the commanders marched down. From Zebulun came those who carry a commander's staff. The princes of Issachar were with Deborah and Barak. They followed Barak, rushing into the valley. But in the tribe of Reuben there was great indecision. Why did you sit at home among the sheepfolds to hear the shepherds whistle for their flocks? Yes, in the tribe of Reuben there was great indecision. Gilead remained east of the Jordan, and why did Dan stay home? Asher sat unmoved at the seashore, remaining in his harbors. But Zebulun risked his life, as did Naphtali, on the heights of the battlefield. The kings of Canaan came and fought at Tanakh near Megiddo springs, but they carried off no silver treasures. The stars fought from the heavens. The stars in their orbits fought against Sisera. The Kishon River swept them away, that ancient torrent, the Kishon. March on with courage, my soul. Then the horses' hooves hammered the ground. The galloping of Sisera's mighty steeds. Let the people of Meroz be cursed, said the angel of the Lord. Let them be utterly cursed, because they did not come to help the Lord against the mighty warriors. Most blessed among women is Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. May she be blessed above all women who live in tents. Sisera asked for water, and she gave him milk. In a bowl fit for nobles, she gave him yogurt. Then with her left hand she reached for a tent peg, and with her right hand for the workman's hammer. She struck Sisera with the hammer, crushing his head. With a shattering blow she pierced his temples. He sank, he fell, he lay still at her feet, and where he sank, there he died. From the window, Sisera's mother looked out. Through the window, she watched for his return, saying, "Why is his chariot so long in coming? Why don't we hear the sound of chariot wheels?" Her wise women answer, and she repeats these words to herself. They must be dividing the captured plunder, with a woman or two for every man. There will be colorful robes for Sisera and colorful embroidered robes for me. Yes, the plunder will include colorful robes embroidered on both sides. Lord, may all of your enemies die like Sisera. But may those who love you rise like the sun in all its power. Then there was peace in the land for 40 years. Gideon becomes Israel's judge. Judges 6, 1 through 40. The Israelites did evil in the Lord's sight, so the Lord handed them over to the Midianites for 7 years. The Midianites were so cruel that the Israelites made hiding places for themselves in the mountains, caves, and strongholds. I just lost my place. Whenever the Israelites planted their crops, marauders from Midian, Amalek, and the people of the east would attack Israel, camping in the land and destroying crops as far away as Gaza. They left the Israelites with nothing to eat, taking all the sheep, goats, cattle, and donkeys. These enemy hordes, coming with their livestock and tents, were as thick as locusts. They arrived on droves of camels too numerous to count, and they stayed until the land was stripped bare. So Israel was reduced to starvation by the Midianites. Then the Israelites cried out to the Lord for help. When they cried out to the Lord because of Midian, the Lord sent a prophet to the Israelites. He said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I brought you up out of slavery in Egypt. I rescued you from the Egyptians and from all who oppressed you. I drove out your enemies and gave you their land. I told you, I am the Lord your God. You must not worship the gods of the Amorites in whose land you now live. But you have not listened to me." Then the angel of the Lord came and sat beneath the great tree of Ophrah, which belonged to Joash of the clan of Abiezer. Gideon, son of Joash, was threshing wheat at the bottom of a winepress to hide grain from the Midianites. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, "Mighty hero, the Lord is with you." "Sir," Gideon replied, "if the Lord is with us, why has all of this happened to us? And where are all the miracles our ancestors told us about? Didn't they say the Lord brought us up out of Egypt? But now the Lord has abandoned us and handed us over to the Midianites." Then the Lord turned to him and said, Go with strength. Go with the strength you have and rescue Israel from the Midianites. I am sending you." "But Lord," Gideon replied, "how can I rescue Israel? My clan is the weakest in the whole tribe of Manasseh, and I am the least of my entire family." The Lord said to him, "I will be with you, and you will destroy the Midianites as if you were fighting against one man." Gideon replied, "If you are truly going to help me, show me a sign to prove that it is really the Lord speaking to me. Don't go away until I have come back and bring my offering to you." He answered, "I will stay here until you return." Gideon hurried home, cooked a young goat, and with a basket of flour, he baked some bread without yeast. Then, carrying the meat in a basket and the broth in a pot, he brought them out and presented them to the angel who was under the great tree. The angel of God said to him, "Place the meat and unleavened bread on this rock and pour the broth over it." And Gideon did as he was told. Then the angel of the Lord touched the meat and bread with the tip of the staff in his hand, and fire flamed up from the rock and consumed all that he had brought. And the angel of the Lord disappeared. When Gideon realized that it was the angel of the Lord, he cried out, "O sovereign Lord, I'm doomed. I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face." "It is all right," the Lord replied. "Do not be afraid. You will not die." And Gideon built an altar to the Lord there and named it Yahweh Shalom, which means the Lord is peace. The altar remains in Ophrah in the land of the clan of Abiezer to this day. That night the Lord said to Gideon, "Take the second bull from your father's herd, the one that is 7 years old. Pull down your father's altar to Baal and cut down the Asherah pole standing beside it. Then build an altar to the Lord your God here on this hilltop sanctuary, laying the stones carefully. Sacrifice the bull as burnt offering on the altar, using as fuel the wood of the Asherah pole you cut down." So Gideon took 10 of his servants and did as the Lord commanded. But he did it at night because he was afraid of the other members of his father's household and the people of the town. Early the next morning, as the people of the town began to stir, someone discovered that the altar of Baal had been broken down and that the Asherah pole beside it had been cut down. In their place, a new altar had been built, and on it were the remains of the bull that had been sacrificed. The people said to each other, "Who did this?" And after asking around and making a careful search, they learned that it was Gideon, the son of Joash. "Bring out your son," the men of the town demanded Joash. "He must die for destroying the altar of Baal and for cutting down the Asherah pole." But Joash shouted to the mob that confronted him, Why are you defending Baal? Will you argue his case? Whoever pleads his case will be put to death by morning. If Baal truly is a god, let him defend himself and destroy the one who broke down this altar." From then on, Gideon was called Jerubbaal, which means "let Baal defend himself," because he broke down Baal's altar. Soon afterwards, the armies of Midian, Amalek, and the people of the east formed an alliance against Israel and crossed the Jordan, camping in the valley of Jezreel. Then the Spirit of the Lord clothed Gideon with power. He blew a ram's horn as a call to arms, and the men of the clan of Abiezer came to him. He also sent messengers throughout Manasseh, Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, summoning their warriors, and all of them responded. Then Gideon said to God, "If you are truly going to use me to rescue Israel as you promised, prove it to me in this way. I will put a wool fleece on the threshing floor tonight. If the fleece is wet with dew in the morning, but the ground is dry, then I will know that you are going to help me rescue Israel as you promised." And that is just what happened. When Gideon got up early the next morning, he squeezed the fleece and wrung out the whole bowl full of water. Then Gideon said to God, "Please don't be angry with me, but let me make one more request. Let me use the fleece for one more test. This time, let the fleece remain dry and the ground around it be wet with dew." So that night, God did as Gideon asked. The fleece was dry in the morning, and the ground was covered with dew. As if it's not crazy enough for the wool to be full of water and the ground to be completely dry. He has to just make sure one more time, just to be sure, and do the opposite. I always think that's funny because we're exactly the same. We do the same thing. We're basically Gideons. All right, April 1st, right, Nikki? I can relate to Gideon too. Prove it. Okay, prove it again. April 1st, realigning your thoughts. You were taught, with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in attitude of your minds. Ephesians 4:22 through 23. We train our bodies to stay fit. We train ourselves to stop bad habits or start good ones. We often forget, though, that we can train our minds. We do this by thinking about what we're thinking about. Yes, we can actually choose what we think about. All right, I like where this is going already. Philippians 4:8 tells us to choose whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. The devil is ever so crafty and well aware that most people don't even think about what they are thinking about. He knows they will believe any lie he tells and grab on to any thought he puts in their mind. Commit to retraining your mind and aligning your thoughts with God's. When you think about what you're thinking about, test it. Learn to discern God's voice among all the others in your life. Consciously choose to believe God's word. Simply put, learn God's thoughts and make them yours. This is the process of renewing your mind, and the result is thinking and living with more freedom. I am grateful, Lord, that you defeated the deceiver and that you will always help me align my thoughts with yours. I love that. It is not an easy practice to get control of your thoughts. It is not easy. It takes persistence. It takes continually being aware of the thoughts that coming into your mind, taking hold of them, and replacing them with good thoughts. Specifically about our health journey, when we think to ourselves, I can't not eat this. I can't not have that. I can't lose weight. I'll always be fat. I'll always be this way. I'll never get this right. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm disgusting. I'm this. I'm that. When we let those thoughts in and we take hold of them, they become our reality. Instead, we're supposed to take hold of those thoughts and replace them with truth. And sometimes most of the time, we have to get in the word and hear the truth repeated to us. That's why I don't just read the Bible every day once. This is our third time through this, and next year will be our fourth, and then our fifth, and then our sixth. I will continue to read over and over the same truth because it doesn't change, and I need to be continually renewing my mind and filling my mind with this stuff to replace those other thoughts. Thoughts are a choice, and we have the opportunity to replace them, but it has to be active. It's not just something that happens. We don't just have to hope for good thoughts. We have to make them happen. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and end in a word of prayer. Father in heaven, thank you so much for this Saturday. I pray, Father, for those that are affected by the severe weather, that you will provide protection and relief from this crazy pants weather that is happening. I pray for those that are impacted, that you will provide quick relief for that and the assistance people need to get back on their feet. I pray for Mallory, that thank you that she has seen a doctor and is starting to feel better. I pray that you will help her recover quickly so that she can be back to her old self and done with this illness. I pray that you'll go before us today as we face whatever is ahead of us. Some of us are very busy today with work or preparations for the upcoming week, or I think of Christy, who is moving into her new home. I pray for everybody and everything that they have going on, that you will just help us to constantly focus on the thoughts that are from you. When the bad thoughts come in, help us to grab hold of those and replace them with the truth from your word. Please go before us today and keep our eyes and hearts focused on you and everything that we say and do today. In your precious name, amen. All right, my friends. I do plan on going live in a little while. I have a appointment at 8:30 here, and then I will go live. I plan to make my goal to make, as long as my morning goes correctly, I plan to make pinwheel cookies. Do you know the shortbread with the marshmallow on top dipped in chocolate? I plan to attempt to make those. I have ideas, and so I'm going to try to make those. So that's my goal, but I do have a meeting first, so it'll be a little while. I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Yeah, absolutely, Faith. I have at least an hour before I can do that. I hope you all have a wonderful day today. Stay on plan for goodness sakes, and I hope to see you live a little bit later. Have a great day, guys. Love you.